Hello again, everyone. I'm back from this afternoon. So this is rather unusual for us, the drummer, because normally we only do so like 1 or 2 o'clock. But this time we're doing another one, which is now 8 o'clock in the UK, and it's 12 noon in California. Because for the first time ever, I've got an American drummer on Ask the Drummer. I'm really, really excited and nervous at the same time because I was all like thinking, can I really do this? I mean, it's an American drummer that I haven't seen, I've never met. So, but anyways, yeah, he's really lovely, and I had a chat with him before I went on live, and I would like to sort of like bring him on the show now. Um, Please welcome my dear friends. It's Sean Kirkpatrick of Swell.
Hello there. Hi.
Hello, Sean.
Where are you in the UK?
Why am I in the UK?
Where are you?
I'm in a place called Stockport, which is part of the Greater Manchester area.
Manchester. Okay, yeah, I hear a little Manchester in you.
Oh, so how are you? What's the weather like? So it's like we're live from the Golden State. Oh my
We're
God.
live. So today is a beautiful day. So I live right on the coast. I live in Santa Barbara, and I'm like literally 2 minutes from the ocean. And it can be foggy in the summer or spring, but today is a spectacular 80-degree day. And I just went swimming in the water in the ocean before I came to see you to wake up because I've been sleepy all morning.
Oh,
And it's a beautiful day. I can't complain.
yeah, it's nice here. I mean, a bit chilly still, but it's really nice. Not as cold as a month ago or something. But
Yeah.
I was telling you about my friend Nick, who's from Los Angeles, and he's here at the moment currently.
Uh-huh.
I was telling you about the Make Head tour and all that. But he said that he finds it a little disorientating because currently, like at 4 o'clock in the morning, it's already light, and also it's 8 in the evening or nine, sometimes 9 in the evening. It's still it's still bright outside because I only found out from him that in California it's kind of like constant, isn't it? Like just like in the Philippines, that it gets light at 6 in the morning and then
Right.
gets dark at 6 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really strange. He said that this is really, this is really a bit, I'm getting a bit disorientated because it's now 8 o'clock in the evening and yet it's still bright.
Yeah, yeah, you're more northern, right? So you have a lot more light.
Yeah, that's right. So, right, well, we're going to be talking about your drumming career and your life as well, because I've mentioned before that I've got to admit that I've not really heard of Swell,
Yeah.
but I did sort of like some research, and I found out on Discogs that you've done so many albums. So it wasn't just a one up, and you were formed, and so you formed the group in San Francisco. It's like 1989. So
Roughly,
from
yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, we sort of start. I put up an ad in Rough Trade Records at the time. I
okay,
remember the verbiage was something like drummer looking for other musicians to create a band with the balls of Killing Joke and the beauty of the Cockney Twins. And at the time, the bass player that was playing with the singer of what was to be Swell answered the ad, and we met and created music together for about a month or two, or actually
yeah.
longer, about 6 months. And then I left. I went to Spain to teach English for 2 years
Oh, you're a teacher.
in the north. Well, no, not really. I'm a surfer. I was going there to go surfing in the north of Spain, and I found a guy there that I was surfing with that had a language school that needed a teacher. So he's like, "Hey, do you have a college degree?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." He goes, "Do you want to teach at my school?" And I stayed.
Oh, right.
Um, yeah. So the guy David Friel, who was the singer of Swell,
Yeah,
eventually, and I kept in touch while I was in Spain. I'd go home for the summer. We made the first record, and then I came back to continue to teach. He released the record on his own accord. I think he pressed 500 vinyl, and then sent a bunch over to me in Europe, in Spain. And I had friends in Belgium. So on my break, I went to Belgium and handed them out to a bunch of people, promoters and the like, and it just took off. The promoters were like, wow, what is this? And so they started booking us shows and ended up getting
Yeah.
tours, and it all exploded from that. Really, it was just weird how it all took
Oh
off.
wow.
John Peel got a hold of one of the records and was playing it madly.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah.
great. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, we're gonna talk about all that in a bit. But welcome to Ask the Drummer. Episode 42 is all about you, Sean Kirkpatrick. But first, let me just say hello to Vincent. I think you pronounce it Briffle. Well,
Hmm.
I'm not very good I'm not very good in pronouncing French, but it's Vincent Briffle who actually did the introduction for us, and I hope he's watching this. So he's somewhere in France. I don't know if it's in
Hey, Vincent.
Paris. Yeah, right. Right. So, Swell from San Francisco. Is that where you're from originally, or
I'm
are you
originally from San
born?
Francisco. Yeah, we all met up there, created the band obviously, and lived there off and on for throughout the duration of Swell. And but now I live in Santa Barbara, California. I'm about 5 hour drive from San Francisco, south.
Oh wow, 5 hours.
Yeah,
Goodness me. So
that's nothing
California.
for American distances.
Oh, right.
If you drove five
So
hours to Manchester, you'd be where? In past London,
well,
right?
well, if it's all, yeah, yeah, that's right. If you go by bus, it'd probably Manchester to Glasgow or something, or
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
um. So, what was it like growing up in San Francisco, especially
That's
so like the
That's
music
it.
scene?
Yeah, it was a great place to grow up, I feel. When you're in it and you're growing up, you don't realize how amazing it is until you leave and reflect on it. But it was a great time. Punk was breaking, alternative music was really taking off. And I lived in Palo Alto, which was like 35 minutes south of San Francisco, which has like Stanford University, and, it's a hotbed of culture. So what was happening in San Francisco was like a microcosm in Palo Alto. And then when we were old enough, we, get rides up to San Francisco and go see shows. And it was just a great place to be at the time. It was the 80s, a great music scene, very creative, tight knit group of people. And then I
Yeah,
eventually met, the guys in Swell, and we just hit it off. And yeah, it was a good time.
yeah. Because you know, me being from the Philippines originally, I mean, we've heard of San Francisco, like songs like "I Left My Heart in San Francisco," or
Yeah.
if you're going to San Francisco, be sure to wear flowers.
Flowers in your hair.
Yeah, yeah. So was there like I don't know if you're aware, but in Liverpool and in Manchester, like in Manchester we had the hacienda and so like the
Yeah,
80s and the 90s,
sure.
and in Liverpool like late 70s I think, or they had Eric's, which is like where most of the musicians that are now really big and famous, they sort of like gathered around there or started from there. So was there something like that in where you were in San
I
Francisco?
mean, I would have to say the on Broadway. There was a street called Broadway in San Francisco where all the strip clubs were. There was the Mabuhay Gardens, run by a Philippine family,
Huh?
and above the Mabuhay Gardens, and then above that was a club
Yeah.
called the On Broadway. So between those two shows, we were exposed to so much good punk. I mean, everything from English punk to California punk, East Coast punk. So that was a big scene in its day for us as kids.
Yeah.
As far as a club and a scene later, I can't really say there was. I say that was probably it.
All
But
right.
Manchester band, here's a Manchester band for you, right? New
Yeah,
Order.
that's right. That was a new order.
Yeah,
Yeah. And you were telling me that you got that in London, a shop in London when you
yeah.
were.
So when I lived right out of high school. My dad's like, "Don't go to college. You don't even know what you want to be. Go to Europe and hang out for a year or two. I'll give you a little bit of money, and then you can get a job there, and blah blah blah." So, and at the time, I was a huge Anglophile. All the bands in England were just blowing my mind. Killing Joke, New Order, Susie and the Banshees, uh, I could go on and on, but I was just
Yeah, yeah.
into English bands. So then I went to London, found I was busking on the streets in Covent Garden, making pretty good money. And I saw a guy putting this up on the wall, in London. And I'm like, hey, can I buy one of those off of you? And he said, sure. And then about 6 months later, he was putting this Bob Marley poster up.
You
And
got,
so,
yeah, you
yeah,
got
and
that
then
one.
so I bought that
Yeah,
from him, and I got a couple other David Bowie posters and the like. But yeah, London. I spent almost a year there. It was a great city at the time.
yeah. Well, your dad sounds like he's a amazing father to sort of like tell you to go, here's some money, go to Europe, and just sort of like enjoy your time. Because most parents, I mean, especially for us like Filipinos, the parents will be like, make sure you get a degree because that will set you up for life.
Yeah,
With a degree, you can do whatever and things and become successful. But having a father like, so like, here's the money, go somewhere where you can just enjoy yourself.
yeah. Yeah, he was a unique guy. This interview is about me, not him. But
Oh
I could tell you a whole interview about my dad. He was crazy. He was a dentist. He was a dentist of the counterculture in San Francisco, and worked on the Grateful Dead's teeth.
oh my
Um,
god.
yeah, there was a
Wow.
band. There was a band, I can't remember the name of them. They were like shoegazer band out of England. That Ray Conroy, who was the manager of the Cocteau Twins and the Wolfgang Press and all those 4AD bands.
Yeah, yeah.
He and I became friends. He came over here on a tour with one of his bands, and the guy had a massive toothache. And so my dad, right before the show, my dad set him down and fixed him up. And
Oh wow.
anyways, so
Oh my god, that's so great. Yeah, but like you said, I mean, this is all about you. So what got you into drumming?
my dad, he was a drummer.
Yeah.
He was a drummer, and he bought me a drum set when I was 8 years old, and they shortly thereafter divorced. And so my mom would, be the one taking me to drum lessons and putting up with all the noise and ruckus in the garage. And then I just kept drumming throughout, my youth, putting the headphones on and playing to Led Zeppelin and Allman Brothers and, all the 70s rock bands.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
eventually punk hit, and then I just got into punk bands and alternative music, and that was that.
And when you was busking in London, were you busking as a drummer or were
I was
you?
busking as a drummer. So I met a black guy from Brixton, and
Yeah,
he was playing on top of like the wooden and plastic chairs of Covent Garden restaurants. He'd grab a bunch, so they made different sounds, plastic
yeah,
or wood or metal. And he had a ghetto blaster, a record, what do you call those? I call them ghetto blasters, a big
yeah.
radio
Frequency. Yeah, yeah,
at the
yeah,
time
yeah.
with a cassette player, and he was playing Michael Jackson's Thriller. And so he would just play the rhythms on top of that. And so I walked up to him and I go, hey man, I'm a drummer. Can I join you? And so it just exploded. I don't know, because it was black and white guys getting together and working
Yeah,
together, because at the time there was a little bit of racial tension.
yeah.
I remember like about a year before there were some racial riots and the like in northern London. Anyways, people would just go crazy for it. And, my sister came to visit us, and she'd go around with the hat and pass the hat.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I kid you not, in 2 hours of doing that, we each made like $100. It was really good timing.
Wow. Wow. That's so.
Yeah.
But you weren't in a band at the time. You were just sort of
No,
like,
I wasn't in a band at the time.
yeah.
I had
What
been
was
in,
your first?
small. Go ahead.
Yeah, what was your first band then?
My
Your
first
first
band?
band.
Oh man, when I was 15, I was in a rock band called Inertia. But that was pre-punk. Then when punk, and alternative music hit, right out of high school, I got into a band called The Calm, and then also a sort of a band called Barbara Mask, which had a guy from the Sleepers. Have you heard of the Sleepers? Might want to do
No.
some research on them. Great band.
Right.
Guys from
Okay.
Tuxedo Moon, Michael Belfer was in the Sleepers. And then the bass player and Bambara Mask was in a band called Half Church, another great Bay Area band, who later would become the bass player in Swell. But then, yeah, I left, to explore Europe and dropped out of all those bands, and then came back and then started Swell.
Right. There's a band. There's an English band called Sleeper, but like during the Britpop era, but they had like a female
Oh
singer,
yeah, I
front
know.
woman or something. So so you've been to sort of like quite a few bands before starting Swell.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So can you tell us more? Because someone from here, from England, Richard Bourne, his name is. He said that he really loves Swell, and he said that "Forget About Jesus"
Hmm.
is one of his favorite songs of all time. And I did look it up on YouTube, and I agree. It's so amazing. It's like a brilliant, brilliant
No,
song.
thanks.
So yeah. So and also I looked up on Discogs the Swell discography, and you've done so many albums and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
not like because in the Philippines we do love a lot of obscure bands, what we call new wave,
Hmm.
but Swell, because it's like maybe later 1989, the later part of the 80s. It's probably not new wave anymore because you're more sort of like an indie rock.
Yeah, I'd say indie rock for sure. And then I'd say the height of our popularity was 90s, mid to late 90s, mid 90s is when
Yeah,
things really took off for us. Like in 95, I do believe we released 41, which is our biggest record. And that's when we signed to Warner Brothers, Deaf American, at the time was called Rick Rubin's label. And
yeah.
then we signed in Beggar's Banquet for Europe and Virgin in on the continent. So where am I going with this? So yeah, and that would have been the height of our
But the
popularity.
90s, so like if I remember, because I left the Philippines in 1989, so I went to the Middle East, and I remember the 90s, especially the early part. It's like grunge,
Hmm.
which is the Seattle scene.
Right.
Were you around so like the same time?
We were around the
So
same time that Nirvana broke. Yeah, when Nevermind came out, we were in Europe doing a tour for our second record, Well. And I remember I had never heard of Nirvana really. I wasn't into grunge at all really. But people were telling me, you have got to hear Nevermind and the song Teen Spirit. And I was
yeah,
like, okay, maybe, And so I remember we just arrived in Belgium and we were kind of warming up, practicing a little bit for our tour to start. And I went outside to take a pee in the bushes, sorry.
yeah,
And up in the window, there was a house and I heard a song. And I'm like, I've never heard that song before. Wow. And it caught my attention. I'm like, that must be the song and the band everyone's talking about. So I ran in, grabbed one of the guys, and I
yeah,
said, hey, come here, listen to this. I go, is that Nirvana? And they said, yeah, you never heard this song? I'm like, no. And it was Teen Spirit. And there was something about that song that I had never heard. I'm like, fuck, that's going to be huge, And it
yeah,
just,
yeah.
even though it's not really my type of music, I was just like, wow, that's something special. But no, we were never part of grunge at all. We're not a grunge band, We were more indie, sort of moody, darker. I don't know. I always say we were kind of like we had the moodiness and darkness of Pink Floyd with the tension of the Pixies.
Oh,
That's how I describe
yeah.
Swell.
Yeah, because I used to watch a lot of sort of like music videos when I was in the Middle East. That's how I got to know about Nirvana and like I don't know if it's more or less the same, but Blind Melon and those
Yeah.
uh but I don't. I mean, I know you're probably gonna hate me for this, but I don't remember seeing a music video of Swell
Hmm.
played on Channel V, which is the MTV side, or the uh, yeah, it's the MTV side of the Middle East. So like instead of MTV, we have Channel V, and but I was sort of like thinking, because now that I looked you up on YouTube, that video for
You
Forget About
love it. You just
Jesus,
figured about Jesus.
yeah, I was sort of like thinking, have I seen this one before? Because it's like,
Yeah. Well, we had in the States or in Europe as well, I think it was 120 minutes was like the alternative hour or 2 hours on MTV.
on MTV. Yeah, that's right.
And,
Yeah,
and it got a lot of airplay. There was another video that we created as well called At Long Last that got a fair amount of airplay, and Forget About Jesus.
Yeah.
And then we had one professional video made by a third party for a song called Get High. So I think those three songs got a fair bit of rotation. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
once our major label picked us up and was pushing it, that helped a lot.
Yeah.
Of course. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And also another video clip that I found on YouTube, was sort of like doing this thing is, it's obvious that you're quite big in France because there's a clip there, and they're like, it's a French. I think it's a French sort of like program, and you're being introduced as a new band on that show. And I'm sort of like thinking with Vincent, so like, telling me about you and Swell.
Mhm.
So your fan base is obviously sort of like you said, in Europe, in France, or in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were much more popular in Europe. It just happened that, as I said, when I was living in Spain, I found people in Belgium that really liked the record, and they sent it out to all the main promoters in Europe and booked us a tour. And so for the next 3 years, we were constantly touring Europe. And then we picked up a German distribution, UK distribution. And so it just made sense to continually tour in Europe. And then I remember, as I said, John Peel was playing one of the records, really
Hmm.
a lot. And the Smashing Pumpkins manager, who was also managing like Roxy Music, Echo and the Bunnymen, the Sundays, Cocteau Twins. He heard it
Yeah.
on John Peel, and he's like, "Wow, what is this?" So he tracked us down on our tour in Europe,
Yeah.
and took us out to lunch and met with us, and said, "Hey, I want to manage you guys. I can get you a nice deal if you'd like, and take it from there." So we kind of reluctantly said yes because we were so indie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then within like a month, we had ended up signing with Warner Brothers, and then of course the focus was more on the US and trying to make a market for us there. So then we did a US tour, a lot of in stores and things like that.
Yeah, because for many sort of like British artists or British bands, they always say things like, "We need to crack America." So, but I wonder if sort of like American bands, do they have that thinking as well? We've got to crack the UK or
Yeah.
Europe.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak for other bands, but for us, it just sort of happened. And I was more of a Europhile anyways than America at the time. I was living there in Spain, had spent a ton of time traveling. And so I was more interested in creating a name for us in Europe, and I felt it was easier, smaller country.
Yeah,
America is huge, and where do you start? So it just kind of naturally developed that Europe was our market. But I don't think most bands, although the romanticism of being popular in Europe probably plays into it for a lot of American bands, thinking, God, I'd love to go to Europe and tour because then they can
yeah,
see and, travel.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's hard work in the States to tour. The distances are so vast, and cool people are 8 to 10 hours apart and more, sometimes 2 days. If you're in Texas and Austin, and then you have to get to the next cool city, which would be Tucson, Arizona, and that's a big drive, right?
Oh
So
God.
touring is hard work in Europe, in America.
In America, yeah, yeah. So I think that's why, a lot of these sort of like British bands and artists, that's their dream, just to sort of like crack America. If they make it to America, then that'll be like their biggest, like the biggest
Yeah.
thing ever. Another person who's actually, I realized this now because another person who got me, well, not really got me, but it sort of like made me aware as well, is, I don't know if you know Rico La Rocca, who's from Preston. He organizes pop festivals. So I remember last year, he posted on Facebook about Swell,
Hmm.
and that was the time when I think you had like an eye surgery or an eye operation, and you're selling some of your artwork. So is that is that
Yeah,
right?
to raise money for my surgeries.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
you're an artist as well. So not just drums, but you also paint and draw.
Yeah, so I went to art college to be an artist before I realized I could maybe be a musician. And so I learned to paint and just naturally fell into it. I was painting a lot of California landscapes when I left Swell. Living in Santa Barbara, the coastline here is amazing. So it just was naturally inspiring to paint up and down the coast. You can see my art on my website, SeanKirkpatrick.com. But yes, so last year during the pandemic, my 11-year-old, 10-year-old son at the time and I were just cooped up inside and losing it. We're just so cabin fever. So we started wrestling and goofing around, and he stuck his finger in my eye accidentally and tore my retina. I had to have emergency surgery for that, and then weirdly the left eye tore. So I had double eye retina repair surgeries within like 2 months. And then cataracts grew from both of those surgeries. So I was going blind from the cataracts. So all these medical emergencies with my eyes, and American insurance is terrible. Just so you know, it's not like Europe where
NHS, but we have
it's not socialized.
Oh, right, yeah.
We have to pay a lot out of pocket. So with 4 of these surgeries back to back to back to back, I was like, I can't afford this. I'm a single dad on an artist income. So I just went on the Facebook page for Swell on my own Facebook page and just started selling all my paintings at a pretty good price to raise the money, and then a couple of people said, why don't you do a GoFund and we can donate money as well. Yeah. So through selling my art and the GoFundMe page, thankfully some great people out there helped me out, and I was able to pay for all the eye surgeries.
How are you? How are you now? I mean, are they?
It's good. I can see 20/20 really distance-wise. Up close is a little challenged because the retina's never quite healed up like I would have liked. But for all, it's good. I have no complaints. I'm happy to be able to see. God, I tell you, for a while there, it was a little concerning.
Oh God. Well, I'm really glad that you're okay. You're okay now, and you're able to do astral.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Aiden works actually. He's my husband, and he's my sound, my tech support. He said that it's very interesting to hear Sean's experiences in London. So that's what he said. And also Trevor Palmer, who's in Skipton here in England. He said that Nirvana were bigger in Europe before the USA.
True, they were.
So, yeah, so I'm glad that Trevor is back, and because he was watching the previous episode as well. So hello, yeah. Trevor, welcome back.
Yeah, and, if I could just comment on that real quick. So when in my time when Swell was breaking in Europe, it was easier also to tour in Europe, and because I don't know if this is the case now. But each city had a cultural fund, and they would pay for the bands to come play. So though we were, playing in a 300, 400 seat capacity club at the time, the club couldn't afford to pay us all, so they would get funding from the city. So bands could make a living touring in Europe like us, you know what I mean? Pay for the hotel, pay for the airfare. Whereas in the States, forget it. You get $50 playing, so you couldn't do it. So the arts are more supported, or were anyways, in Europe to allow for bands like us to make a tour and make a living.
Oh, wow. But now I think it's a bit more difficult with sort of like all these visas and maybe fees that you have to pay. I don't know. I don't know the things about it, but the ins and outs of it. But that's what I've sort of like read before. But again, Aiden said that he's obviously looked at your website, and he said your paintings are great, especially the one on your homepage.
Oh yeah.
So I need to look it up later. So you're still selling all your artwork there? It's still
I'm still selling. I sold out all my originals. I'm just selling prints now. So if anybody wants a print or archival, signed, etc., But no, I don't have the time right now. I've been really working on the last 3 years obsessively with my kind of a solo project called The World is Haunted. Yeah. So that's kind of put my painting aside. I find that I was too split. If I was working on paintings and music, I wasn't productive enough. So I put the paintings aside and just dove headfirst into creating my own music for the last 3 years. And I now have 22 songs that I'm pretty proud of. and I am looking for a label, distribution, some kind of, method on releasing it to the world and hopefully getting some notice.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna talk about The World Is Haunted. That's a really cool name. So how did you come up with that band name?
It came to me way before the music did. I was just thinking, I really want to do my own music. I'm not doing Swell anymore. I'm not drumming. I'm being a dad. I miss playing music. What would I do? What would the stuff be? And what would I call it? And that name just boom popped in my head. And so that was something I had for like 5 years before the music was even created.
And your songs, are they available so like here on
Yeah.
they have Bandcamp
Yes. There's an EP on Bandcamp that you can download. I have about 15 videos I've made on YouTube of The World Is Haunted. Let's see, they're in SoundCloud.
Yeah.
But I've been kind of reluctant to post the new album. I have like I said, 22 songs. I've been reluctant to post those in Bandcamp or anywhere else yet until I can maybe find a label. But if not, in the next month or so, I'm going to really start blanketing, social media and do whatever else it takes to have people hear it. But the YouTube channel is probably the best place for now, or the website, theworldishaunted.com.
Oh, because is this your own? So, like, what's the YouTube channel's account name? Because when I looked it up, today,
ghostly things pop up, right?
Well, it's actually it's funny because it's what's it called, the zombie TV show.
Yeah, because since you know how algorithms work in social media, if you type in something, it's more popular than what you're looking for. That populates the search engine. So no one can find The World Is Haunted on YouTube. All that pops up are zombies and monsters and ghosts and things. So I don't know how to get the search engine to find me. So if you type in a song, like if you go, The World Is Haunted Mama Hey Now, that'll give you one of my songs. And then you can click on the channel down below.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So Mama Hey Now is a song. I can't think of all the songs now. Nature is another song. Ain't Gonna Fall. So if you type in those with the name, of the band, The World Is Haunted, you'll get my channel.
Oh, that's good then, because I was like thinking, I think it's The Walking Dead that came up.
I know. Everybody says that. I can't find your channel. I get all this zombie stuff.
Yeah. I was so like wondering, are you into sort like what do you call it? Do you know with the soundtrack? Is the band sort like doing the soundtrack thing for all these like zombie films or something? And then I said, no, it's got to be not that one. I'm not gonna put that one.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, but Aiden said that he's found the channel, so
okay, cool. Yeah, that's been a big problem. I don't know how to go. I got to hire a specialist, a social media specialist, and have him help me with that.
Yeah, because it's a bit so like, I know from experience, because my husband's also doing this YouTube thing, so he calls himself a YouTuber, but so. I think you've got to have like certain words that you have to put in and
hashtags and the like.
Hashtags, no, yeah.
Yeah, I've done all that, but then the zombies take precedence over my stuff. I don't know why people aren't finding it.
But so you're actually looking for a label before you want to release.
Yeah, because I think maybe a label might say, "Hey, you already have this stuff out on Bandcamp and SoundCloud and Spotify, so we don't really want you." So I'm trying. I don't know if a label would say that, but I'm going to look for a while for a label or distribution and what else. And if not, I'll give it about 3 months. I'll just release it on my own out there.
Yeah, because I think that's what most bands and musicians nowadays do. They'll just put it out there, and then let the fan base their fans buy it from Bandcamp or wherever, like Spotify. But are you on Spotify as well, or
I'm not on Spotify? No, I have to really take time, and in the next 3 months, I've made a commitment to just like get into all that. I've just been too busy making the music, dealing with the eye surgeries, being a single dad.
Yeah, yeah,
But I will. And this summer, I'm definitely going to commit to really getting the music out and hopefully noticed, because I think
yeah.
I don't know, I like it, obviously. So hopefully, I think it's worth listening to. And Monty, the bass player from Swell, helped me produce, record, and mix a few of the songs. He played on one of my songs as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, and I also there's a great band from San Francisco called the Toiling Midgets. I don't know if you remember them from the '90s. Really good band. Craig Gray played on one of my songs as well. So yeah.
Well, fingers crossed. Hopefully you'll find like a label to release your songs and your music.
Be nice.
The Aiden said that you need to get to 100 subscribers, and then you can claim your custom name. The World is Haunted.
Oh, okay. How many do
that's
I need?
100 subscribers.
Oh, okay. I think I have 80 or 90.
Yeah, and then you can claim it, and then if you maybe the best thing is maybe post it on Facebook and then just say, please subscribe to this channel. So as soon as you get 100, you can claim The World is Haunted as your.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I have a channel, but that's not enough. I have to be able to claim it as well.
Think so. Yeah, I think if you get to 100, that's what Aiden say. That's the tip that on YouTube.com you can put The World is Haunted will be the address, and then whenever people type in The World is Haunted, then they will get your.
All right. Well, I think I'm pretty close. He may be able to see if he can look right now on the World is Haunted channel and see how many subscribers I had and let me know. That would help.
Yeah, and then you can post it on Facebook this evening, it says that you have 70.
Oh, so I get 30 more.
You need only 30 more, and then you can have that custom name.
Well, after doing this podcast, I'll get that 30 more.
Yes, and I will help you. I'll post it as well. So say, subscribe to this channel, and then you can have your own. The World is Haunted as your name on YouTube.
There you go. Yeah. I'm giving you a little new order here.
Yeah, but so with this new band that you're playing in, because you were telling me earlier that it's actually your style of drumming is very unique and different, and because I'm not the technical side. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a drummer, so I can't really tell about the technical side of it. But yeah, how would you describe your drumming?
Right. So if I had to sum up my style, I would say I'm not the most technically trained, and I'm kind of lazy, so I never practice my rudiments and paradiddles and all that.
Yeah.
But what I take pride in is I'm kind of like a songwriter's drummer. I let the song breathe, and I give a lot of space and room for the music. Less is more. And when it's time to get heavy, it gets heavier because I've been so light in the beginnings. I sort of like you'll never catch me playing a steady doom, 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 doom. Hardly ever will I play a steady beat. I like to weave in and out of the song, throw the snare on a 3 or a half beat. I don't like cliches as a drummer for me, so I'm always trying to find a way to not be typical. And I will have to say that drummers, it's a very obvious throw out. John Bonham from Led Zeppelin was amazing in that he never played a steady beat. If you listen to him, hardly ever. He always wove his style in and out of, Jimmy Page's guitar. And I'm also heavily influenced by dub reggae drumming, like Carlton Barrett from Augustus Pablo, King Tubby, Bob Marley. How you just were always surprised, wow, why would he play that there? Jazz drumming, Art Blakey. And I really was a big fan of Echo and the Bunnymen's drummer, Pete DeFreitas, the late Pete DeFreitas. God bless him.
Yeah.
I met him a couple times, actually. Great guy. But I loved his style. He used a lot of tom fills, and I don't know. it's funny too. I really am influenced by people that are not drummers that program drums, like Sisters of Mercy, early Sisters of Mercy. I love the drum machine tracking or programming because it's so weird. It's like, who would play that stuff? Because they're not
Yeah,
drummers, right? So
yeah.
that really influenced me. And lately, I've been really liking Sleaford Mods. Is that how you pronounce it?
Oh yeah. They're from Manchester, I believe. Yeah.
Because that's all, it's they're not drummers, so their drum beats are so weird and disjointed and unorthodox. I'm like, wow, I really like that. So it really influenced me.
I should probably see them live, because I've never seen them live. But yeah, they're quite big at the moment. So
Are they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would say I just do not like to play the typical beat of a drummer. And as I said, I think I'm kind of a songwriter drummer. I would like to think I play the drums more like an instrument, like a guitar, a noted instrument, I should say, where the toms become melodic, and they accent and add more notes to the music. And I'm really in tune with the songs. Like if a song is in like B, I'll try to make my drum set in B. I don't know.
Trevor said it sounds like Ringo, a song drummer. That's what it
sounds
says.
like who? Ringo?
Ringo Starr.
Ringo
Starr.
Starr?
Yeah. Are you a fan of Ringo?
So I will say I never was a Beatles fan. Growing up, they were everywhere, so they didn't need my attention. So I was always interested in the less known bands. But when I do check in with the Beatles, I'm like, wow, Ringo Starr was really interesting. He's not an influence, but I will say that every time I take the time to listen to what he played, I'm like, damn, very good stuff.
Well, do you still go to gigs to a lot of or concerts?
I live in Santa Barbara, which is a town about 90 minutes north of Los Angeles. So I'm not really near a big hub anymore. And I'm not in San Francisco. And I don't really like to go to Los Angeles. But I will say that during the pandemic, I really got into Fontaine's DC. Do you know them?
Yes. Oh, they're amazing. They're really good. Fontaine, yeah.
So if anybody could reach out to that band and let them know that I fucking love them. And I don't know what it was, but during the pandemic, I discovered them. So they became my theme music. Me and my 10-year-old son, we listened to them all the time and got into them. And so they just played in Los Angeles last month. And I took my 11-year-old son with me and my girlfriend, Lorraine. And we saw them. And I was just fucking blown away and so motivated to get back into music and to get my stuff out there. And, but no, to answer your question, no, I rarely go to shows anymore. I would like to, but I just don't have the time. Time is of everything, and, I don't know, but I will say that Fontaine's drummer, I like the fact that he never plays fills. I don't think he's much of, I don't know what the word is. He just doesn't play fills. And I admire that. He's sort of not a showman. And he lets the music take the foreground. And I've listened to a few interviews with him, and he plays a Gretsch, and I also play Gretsch. I'm quite fond of Gretsch drums. And anyways, that band right now is the main band I'm motivated by.
Well, I saw them live before it was like before the pandemic, and I remember it was actually Mike Joyce, who's the drummer of the Smiths. He had a radio show at the time, and he was really bigging them up. He was saying that you've got to go and see Fontaine's DC and all that. So I did. So I went to see them, and I managed to meet the drummer. So I had a photograph with the drummer, but that was before the pandemic. So I didn't have Ask the Drummer at the time, and I tried to send a message via their Facebook page, but I haven't received a reply. I think because now they've gone really big. But when I saw them before, they were just in a sort of like small venue in Manchester, and it was a lot easier for me to sort of like go up to them and talk to them about their music.
Right. Yeah. Well, it was funny. I wanted to say that. So since my son and I watched so much of them, their videos, like I can't remember the name of the song, "A Hero's Death." That one video, it's so twisted. You got to check it out. Anyways, my son and I would watch so much of their music during the pandemic, videos that we felt like we knew them. So when we went to the show, it was like, hey, my friend's up on stage, right? And
Yeah.
so I tried to get he and I backstage afterwards, and sadly the road manager wasn't having it. But I'm like, look, man, my little son, he's 11-year-old. Let us back just to say hi. I mean, I'm a drummer. Tell him I was a drummer of Swell. Maybe that'll help, But we peeked around afterwards the alleyway of the show, and they were being mobbed by press and everything. So I could see why their road manager was like, nah, 2 more people can't do it.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Well, hopefully you sort of like get to meet them and
Yeah. And being Irish American, it's like, come on, man.
Well, Trevor said that his nephew has photographed Fontaine's DC. So
nice.
maybe Trevor will be able to sort of like help you and speak to his nephew and say,
next time they come.
Yeah, I remember because when they were, because I think with the second album, they became so big that I haven't sort of like been to see them again. But during the first album, that's what I really loved about them. They were just sort of like this 5 guys, and no, so I think 5 or 4 guys. But anyways, yeah, and they were just sort of like after the gig, they were out smoking at the back. So I was all like, just went up to them and said, "Can I have a photograph, please?" And I asked them to sign my CD.
Yeah. That's the curse of it all, right? You love your little secret band that doesn't play for more than 150, 200 people for a year or two, and then boom, no more.
It's the same with I don't know if you're familiar with the Inhaler.
Say that again.
Inhaler. There's a band called Inhaler, and the lead singer is Bonner's son.
Oh wow! Okay, I'll check them out.
Yeah, so because they were really good. So I saw them when they were just starting in this sort of like small venue in Manchester, and I had a photograph with Eli and the drummer as well, because I always go for the drummer.
Yeah.
I've got like on Facebook, I've got this album and it's got photos of like all the drummers that I've met. So
we need people like you. We admire people like you.
Well, hopefully someday if you come over and then maybe play with The World Is Haunted.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, it would be
nothing
nice.
more. You know what? I want to say, you made me think of something. So I remember, you always see the drummers in the back of the band, right, on the little riser, and then everybody's in front of the drummer, so you really don't see the drummer. The one thing I really liked about the Old Echo and the Bunnymen was that Pete DeFreitas was up front with the rest of the band. So it was all 4 of them, in a row.
Yeah.
And so when Swell started, whenever we could, when the stages were big enough, I said, dude, guys, I want to push my drums up with you. So, we kind of had me up front a little bit more because I'm kind of, I guess, egotistical. So anyways, that was good. Oh, my Mac says we're going to die in about 10 minutes. We'll see how long I get.
Oh, we'll try to sort of like finish. But whenever I go to a gig, I always go there as early as I can, so I can be in front of the stage and also position myself where I can see the drummer. Because, like what you said, it's always they're hidden.
Yeah. It's sad.
Being sort of like blocked. I remember one time I said to the drummer when I interviewed them, it was like the bass player is blocking you. I don't like have to move and like make sure I could video you and stuff. But because I don't know why, but I've always loved drummers. I tried learning, but that's not for me. I'd rather just watch drummers and play it myself. And Bobby Gillespie, who's like the drummer of the Jesus and Mary Chain, but now he's he sings in like Primal Scream. But he said that a band is only as good as its drummer.
As a drummer, I've heard that many times.
Yeah. So I totally agree. So I want to say hello to Phil Knox Jr. He's just said that So he's there. He's in a Manchester band called Ventrals.
Okay.
Yeah, you should check them out as well because they're really good. Phil Knoxy.
All right.
Yeah,
I will.
So you said that you've only got 10 minutes, but can I ask you, do you have any drumming heroes?
Do I have any what?
Drumming heroes? Do you look up to some drummers that you wanted, like, or
Heroes, drum
yeah,
heroes.
drum
Well, I think
hero?
I think I mentioned him. Pete Freitas from Echo and the Bunnymen. I say the Killing Joke's first drummer or only drummer. I really liked his style. Carlton Barrett, the reggae drummer, amazing. Like I said, 70s reggae dub drummers, from Augustus Pablo King Tubby, Barrington Levy, Prince Farai, all their drummers, just amazing to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I also like the On-U Sounds stuff that they Skip McDonald and all those guys. I don't know the drummer's name in that band or project, but always was a big fan of their stuff.
On-U Sound. Isn't that
On-U
like
Sound, you know that English label? They did a lot
yeah,
of like Tack Head, African Head Charge,
yeah.
Dub Syndicate.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen that. Because you know that I work in a record shop.
Oh, nice.
There's a place called King B Records in Manchester. We've been, King B Records has been there since, like, I think it's been going for about 37 years now. But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah. So I see a lot of this, like when you mentioned Prince Far Eye.
Yeah.
I've only sort of like found out about him after seeing like these records, and they're like really expensive as well.
Yeah.
These albums by Prince Far Eye. And like when you mentioned it, I was like, oh my god, I know all these names. So and also Trevor said it's Adrian Sherwood.
Adrian Sherwood's stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So and all these years that you've been playing drums for Swell, have you ever had any disasters?
Disasters?
Yeah, like have you ever hurt yourself playing? Because sometimes, I went to a gig once and the drummer saw like it probably just hit his face with his stick or something.
Ooh.
I could see like blood coming out of his face, and I was sort of like
Yeah.
thinking, oh
No.
my god, that must be. But he carried on. He was really good. He carried on playing and he finished the set and everything. So have you ever had? Have you ever had anything
No,
like
but
that?
funny enough, when I was in Swell and we started getting bigger and playing bigger shows, like I think towards the end we were playing, I don't know, 800, 1,000 people seaters, and then doing festivals for a couple thousand people. I was having dreams or nightmares that I'd be on stage playing, and on all the cymbals would start to fall, the snare head would break. It was all these panic dreams of anxiety of not being able to play the drums in front of all these people. But nothing ever like that happened, thank goodness. But no, I can't think of anything that ever was a disaster.
You never sort of like fell off your
No.
the stool or
I
something?
mean, the only thing I ever say, and I never do this, but a friend of mine was playing here in Santa Barbara, and he says, "Hey, can you just sit in for me really quick? I'm playing outside," and he was doing like reggae and stuff. So I sat in, and a microblast came, which was like a mini storm, and we don't have hard weather here in Santa Barbara. And like it just rained torrentially for about 20 minutes. The winds blew 100 miles an hour, blew all my drum set over. Trees were falling, floods, telephone wires. So yes, in fact, that was pretty heavy. That was a disaster.
Oh my god!
Yes, and I had just gotten my new Gretsch drum set, by the way. So here it is, soaked.
Oh no!
Yeah, that was interesting. But anyway, it all worked out. I ran home, tried it out, and
Are you still using it? Is it still
I'm
okay?
still using it. Yeah. That was an interesting experience. It was literally a flood, and telephone lines fell into the water. So I was like, shit, I don't know if I can walk in this because it's electrical. I was like, screw it. I'm taking my drums and I'm going, and I trudged through the water, and I didn't get electrocuted. But anyways, that was interesting. Yes.
That was a real disaster.
Yeah, that was a disaster.
Another thing that I would like to ask John is because I really love it when they twirl.
Do that.
When you twirl, yeah.
I can do that, but that's too rock. I learned to do that when I was 15 when I was in a rock band. But when punk hit, it was like everything was anti-rock. You got rid of all your Zeppelin records, cut your hair. Said "F you" to the system of big bands. So no, that never. I lost my knack on how to do that.
Because I don't know if you know this American drummer who plays with a flock of seagulls now.
Oh yeah.
Can't forget his name, but I saw them recently, and every single time he just saw
Yeah.
like wells, which is unbelievable. He's so amazing. It's like a
Wow.
instead of so like looking at Mike Score, the singer of Flock of Seagulls, I
Hmm.
was just really mesmerized by him because every time he hits it, he just twirls all the time, and then
Huh.
he always so like throws a stick and then so like
Makes it
catches it
happen.
and stuff, and all that throughout the set. He only missed one. He
Wow.
only yeah, and that was towards the end. He saw like he threw the stick up in the air, and then it wasn't able to catch it. But
Yeah.
he came
But
up
he's
with
got one
another
behind
one.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was. And then he just carried on, and then again doing that. I just thought, oh my god, that is so amazing.
Nice.
So, but you stopped doing that all
I
the
stopped
years
doing it when I was
ago.
15. Yeah. As soon as I got into punk, that was not cool to do that in the punk world. So I lost my touch.
well, well, my last question for you is: do you have any advice to sort like aspiring drummers that like the young ones if they want to be
Right.
a drummer?
Yeah.
Or you have a son. Do you want him to be a drummer
He
or?
plays drums. Yeah, I have two sons. I have a 19-year-old and an 11-year-old, and they both are drummers. And they're both, well, the 19-year-old is in a band, kind of like a heavy uh, death metal band. And then my 11-year-old is a drummer also. He's more into punk right now. But they're very good. So, yes, what I will say is always wear earplugs. Always, always, always when you practice your drums, when you go to shows, when you play your shows, always wear earplugs. I didn't, and probably, I don't even know, 70% deaf now, sadly.
Oh,
Um, yeah, it's a bummer. It all happened towards the end of my Swell career. I started not hearing the alarm going off in the morning to get me up, and I was like,
oh,
uh-oh, something's going on. Yeah,
oh
and
no.
so always protect your hearing. It sucks, believe me. Not having all my hearing and being a music lover. Whew.
And
Um,
do you suffer from tinnitus? Is
yes, and I have
that
ringing in
your
the
thing?
ear. Yes, I have ringing in the ear nonstop, 24/7, and that's also maddening. So save your hearing, practice your rudiments. Even if they don't make sense in your music now, they will somehow later. And learn to develop your left hand as much as your right hand. And branch out. Listen to stuff that you wouldn't normally listen to. Jazz, old jazz. The drummers in there are amazing. Um, I don't know. Just enjoy the ride. Drums
Yeah.
drums are amazing. Drums to be a drummer. Oh, learn an instrument besides the drums. Learn a noted instrument so you can write your own music. I highly recommend that.
Like guitar, so play the guitar and
Anything,
drums at the same time. Or play,
keyboard. Yeah, I would
yeah,
suggest. Yeah, just anything, keyboards, bass, guitar, just so that you can, if you have an idea, write it down and play it for the guys in your band. If nothing else, if you decide not to do a solo thing. I didn't, and now that I'm writing my own music, I just took a crash course in learning how to play the keyboard, and so I play everything on the keyboard. Um, if I want a guitar, I'll just put a guitar sample in, or a bass, or saxophone, or
yeah,
whatever. I do it that way. So thank God I've somehow picked it up and be able to write my own music. But there were years went by after Swell that I wanted to do music, and I was just frustrated and a little bit afraid to try to pick up an instrument because it's a little daunting to try to learn a new instrument.
yeah,
But
yeah.
but I would say those are the advice I would give to any drummer.
Well, before I let you go, I also like forgot to ask you, is that the end of Swell now? Because I know that the singer sort of like left this planet a month ago, and so there's no you're not going to be sort of like doing a show or maybe get another
So
singer or
yeah, that's interesting to say that because Swell happened in the '90s. I don't know how big our fan base is now. I know they're out there, but they're scattered. So it would
yeah,
take some time, and touring is expensive and a lot of work. I would love to do a tribute to him, go to Europe, especially because that's where our market is, with the bass player of Swell, Monty. and either hire find someone that can sing. But yeah, it's in the cards. We're thinking about it. It would just have to present itself somehow. And my focus right now is The World is Haunted as well. So
Yeah.
that's where all my energy is going. But I was thinking if I could somehow get distribution with The World is Haunted to do like a split show, like half of The World is Haunted and half of Swell.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna ask you that. Would you incorporate it into
Oh,
like
yeah.
well, yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I would, by all means. So I'm going to really, as I said earlier, dive into the whole music thing aspect and this summer and see what I can come up with and see if I can get a Swell thing going and World is Haunted. And yeah, I'm not opposed to it. And, stay tuned and look at social media, look at the websites for any kind of what am I saying? Changes in, status.
Yeah, yeah. And so there's a Swell Facebook page.
There's a
The same,
Swell Facebook page. There's a
and
World is
well,
Haunted Facebook page. Yeah.
yeah.
There's an Instagram page for The World is Haunted. SeanKirkpatrick.com or TheWorldIsHaunted.com also. But through all those, I will definitely be posting.
Are you on Twitter or
I am not. No.
no? So it's Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll sort of like let everyone know, because when I do the thank you for you, I'll include those pages, like Facebook pages and the Instagram. Well, I think I could do Instagram as well. And then I
Yeah.
sort of like just so that
The website as well.
hear your music. Pardon?
And the website, TheWorldIsHaunted.com. And that's always
Oh yeah,
somewhere
the
I will
website.
post.
And
Yeah.
also, I know that. Oh, I think he's gone. oh, hold on, he's back. Hold on.
I'm back. Hey, look, there's a Swell tour poster right there.
I know. So I was just sort of like saying to our friends who are watching us that's your battery power.
Yeah.
And Trevor said that your world is haunted, so you're gone.
I had to run to get my computer plugged in.
Right.
You know this band? You know this band, PIL?
Oh
Public
yeah, of
Image?
course. Yeah,
That was
yeah, they're
that was a
playing.
show in San Francisco in 1980. Amazing. They back in the day. Huge fan.
Trevor Palmer actually said something that John Lydon played drums on Flowers of Romance. So,
Really? Wow.
yeah, and
Impressive.
yeah, they're playing tomorrow, I think, in Manchester. The Ritz in Manchester, but unfortunately, I'm not going because
Oh,
I still have my Mick Head tour to do.
yes.
So I'm gonna continue with Mick Head, and but yeah, someday I will go and see Phil. And Trevor was saying that he watched a documentary about them this afternoon. So I don't know if you're aware of it. Were you aware?
On Public Image?
Public Image, yeah.
Ooh, I'd like. Can he send the link somehow to me?
Can you send him a link, please, Trevor? So he said that he watched it this afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Old Pill. The first 3 albums, freaking amazing, with Jaw Wobble and Martin Atkins on drums.
Yeah.
Love that stuff.
Wow. Right. So, could you any sort of like final words to say to our friends who are watching us? And especially, I've got to say, hold on, because you did mention earlier before we went on live that you've got lots of Filipino friends.
I've got lots of what?
Filipino friends in California. And
Yes.
it's like,
So where I grew up in San Francisco was a huge Filipino population, and I went to school with a lot of them and befriended a lot of them. And great people, great culture. Loved the food. I can remember when they'd come to school every day with their lunch boxes. I'd always like trade my bologna sandwich for their,
adobo, it's like adobo.
yeah, their interesting fish dishes and of the like. Great people. Yeah, I know Filipino culture pretty well. They're cool people.
Oh, that's brilliant! Because I remember when you mentioned food, The Wedding Present. Do you know the band called The Wedding Present?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, they went to the Philippines, and I spoke to David Gage one time, and I asked him about how did you find the Philippines, because was it good and stuff, and he said that they were fed very well. Which is like, yeah, oh, that's typical. So like a Filipino thing, it's about food and this.
Yeah, yeah. I remember eating well at the parents' house, or the kids' house, with the mother and father always trying to feed me.
That's good. Oh, Travis said that. Do you have Amazon Prime?
I do.
So the
No, I
documentary,
don't, but I know someone who does. It's on there. What's it called?
it's called "The Image Is Rotten."
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah. Okay. I'm definitely going to
Yeah,
see that. Even
yeah,
though Johnny Lydon, is a Trump supporter, I really have respect for John Lydon. I've read both his books. Um, I mean,
is
that
it
early
anger?
stuff.
Yeah, yeah, angers
He's
and
just,
energy. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Yes, exactly.
yeah, that's
I don't know. Just the way anyways, I know you got to get going, and people don't probably want to hear my
no,
take
no,
on
go, no,
Lydon.
it's great. No, yeah, come on, go on, because I met him as well. I
You
met John
did?
Lydon. Yeah,
Huh.
and I mean, I was actually surprised, because with this persona of being so like angry
Yes.
all the time, and
Yes.
you'd think that he wouldn't like fans or things like that, but he's actually he's so sweet. And you know what happened with the talk? It was during the Angers and Energy book launch
Mhm.
in Manchester, and he did the signing for like until 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning,
Wow.
which is unbelievable. And people were so like, they said, we were told that he'll only sign the book, so don't bring anything else
Hmm.
for him to sign. But he was just signing every single thing that
Vinyl
people,
and
yeah, and
huh.
even like on people's bodies, because they
Yeah.
wanted they wanted to have it tattooed permanently on their like arms or legs and stuff.
Huh.
So yeah, that was really surprising for me, because I just thought, oh, he's gonna be so like an angry person, because you've seen
Sure.
him, so like,
Yeah. I
but
mean,
he's not at
yeah.
all. He's really nice. So
Yeah, well, he's been humbled, I think. I think he had to take care of his wife who got really ill for a while. I know he lives in Los Angeles. Friends of friends said they introduced me to him, but I never bothered. But I know that that was a big ordeal for him to see his wife. I think she passed away. So I don't know if he was always so nice, but I've heard he's changed. He's a good guy now.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I, go
Do
ahead.
you ever get starstruck? Like, I'm sure in Los Angeles or California or wherever, it's like in that place, that you get a lot of celebrities or like
Yeah, yeah. I live
big
in Santa
musicians.
Barbara. Santa Barbara is a very desirable place to be, to live, and they also vacation here. I've met and seen a lot of stars. No, I don't really watch a lot of TV, so I don't really identify with people on TV.
But
A musician, I
music,
might.
yeah.
Yeah, in music, trying to think who I met. Oh, I met the guy from Depeche Mode many times. Martin Gore.
Oh my God.
He lives
Well,
he lives here in Santa Barbara, and I've met him probably 10 times now. Just ran into him about a month ago. Didn't someone just die in Depeche
yeah.
Mode? The
And
keyboardist
Andy
Fletcher.
Fletcher.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That was really sad. Yeah.
yeah. I don't get so much starstruck as I get like what's the word? I feel like I'm talking with someone that's part of my posse. Like we're connected, even though Depeche Mode's massive. When I meet him, I always feel like, hey, can I just talk about music with you for a little bit? Um, I don't know, who did I meet? Well, I was trying to meet the guys from Fontaine's DC because, like I said, through the pandemic, I felt like I really got to know them because I watched the damn videos all the time, and they're Irish, and I felt a little disappointed that I didn't get to meet them because I really wanted to.
Yeah,
Oh well.
yeah.
So I was a little starstruck by them, I guess, when I finally saw them on stage. I'm like, damn, I know those guys, sort of. Uh, who have I met? I've met Exene from X. Do you know the band X from Los
Mm,
Angeles? No, they were more 80s, 90s punk. I know I've met a lot. I can't think of all the guys right now. But in
yeah.
London, the Cocteau Twins, all the 4AD bands. Wolfgang Press.
Oh
I've met
wow.
I met Echo and the Bunnymen a couple
Yeah,
times.
yeah, yeah,
When I'm put on the spot, I can't think of all the bands, people I've met, but yeah,
yeah, yeah. And
Bjork. I met Bjork.
oh, that's
But no, I
brilliant.
don't get starstruck.
Apart from Fontaine's DC,
That was just because, as I said, I felt like I already knew them by
yeah,
seeing them
because
all through
yeah.
the pandemic.
And we mentioned some because they're Irish. Do you have like Irish so like
Yes,
in
Sean.
you?
So my middle name is Aaron, which means Ireland. So Sean Aaron Kirkpatrick's my full name. Um, I'm third generation from Ireland, Scotland, but I did a DNA testing recently, and a lot of it was Scandinavian blood. But that's what the Vikings. The Vikings came in to raped and pillaged Ireland and Scotland, right? So, so my bloodline is Scandinavian, Irish, Scottish. So I really obviously connect to
Yeah,
that part of the world and would like to live there. To be honest with you, it's going to be hard because I know it's hard to find employment there if you're not an EC citizen, European citizen.
yeah, yeah. It's again, it's weird that you're talking about having that DNA thing because I told you about my friend Nick who's here doing the Make
Right.
Head Tour with me, and he mentioned that I think quite a lot of people in America, is it like a one of the things in America now that you do this DNA, or I don't know if it's the same here. I've not heard of sort of like anyone talking to me about sort of like registering with a website, and then I think you spit on something, you send it to them,
Yeah.
and then they sort of like update you with all the things, information that they find out about what your DNA or your ancestry or something.
Yeah.
So
I did that.
was it
So
something that a lot of Americans do at the
I would
moment?
think I would think more Americans do that than Europeans because if you live and born and raised in England, you're English, or that you are Scotch Irish or whatever. But in America, we're such a melting pot of everything, and most of us are a mixture of numerous European blood. If you're white, or if you're Latino, you've got who knows what besides
Yeah,
what you think you have. So I think, yeah, in America, it's just there's not one race. So people were more interested in finding out, where
finding
we
out.
come from.
Yeah. Oh, it's really interesting now. So, anyways, yeah. Well, so like, any final word to our friends and
I,
wherever?
ho- I no, I thank you, Anne, for taking the time. It's been fun,
Oh no, yeah, I'm really glad that you saw. Like again, thanks to Vincent for sending me a message and telling me about you and Swell.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He is a French fan of Swell, and he's stayed in contact with me for years. Interested in what I'm doing, and so lately I said, dude, if you're so a good guy, why don't you just manage The World Is Haunted? So,
Yeah,
so he's kind of taken a little bit of incentive or run with it. So he got me this meeting with you, and hopefully
yeah.
we'll do other things because it's been
Yeah,
fun.
and hopefully with The World Is Haunted, that you come over to the UK and do some shows and gigs and stuff, and then I could go and see you, especially if you're in Manchester or Liverpool or
Yeah.
Leeds.
I would love that. There would be nothing make me happier than to come over and play my music, play some Swell songs, and see
Yeah,
Europe again. I spent a lot of time in Europe before I had kids, but ever since then, it's been I've been more of a father.
yeah,
That's where all my time and money has gone. So we'll see.
yeah. Well, they say it's the best job. Being a parent is the best job in the world. So
It
it's
is.
yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Right. Well, thank you so much, Sean. I mean, I'm really, really excited about this one. I'm nervous as well because I haven't talked to an American drummer before. So
Well, now you can. Now the world is open to you. Now you can approach all the American bands.
yeah. Well, thank you so much, and
Thank you.
good luck, and hope the eyes get like better soon.
Yeah.
Because you said that it's not really fully healed yet, but
It's not fully healed. No, it probably will never get better than it is now.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I can see well enough, so I'm thankful.
Yeah, and And you can still play the drums, so which
I can still play the
yeah,
drums. Yeah.
and
Yes.
yeah, so that's good.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much, and yeah, good luck with everything, and hopefully you'll be able to sort like get a record label, and then you
Yeah.
can release your songs. We'll keep an eye out for it, and
Yeah.
hope to see you someday.
Very cool. All right, Anne. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Talk to
Thanks,
you.
Sean.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye. Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad that you came back. I was only planning on saying my goodbyes, but it's so good. At least I think Aiden will be able to sort of like do some editing, and then so it doesn't look as if I've said goodbye and then he came back on and things like that. But anyways, yeah, thank you all so much for joining us. We've got another episode of Ask the Drummer next weekend, next Sunday, and then after that, I've got to sort of like take some time off because I'll be doing something sort of like personal. But I will tell you more about it next week. So yeah, so hope to see you all again next Sunday. Please do keep an eye out for the guest announcement post because he's going to be our guest for next week is another amazing drummer. So yeah, so love music, like I always say, love music, love life, and love drummers. I mean, Sean Kirkpatrick from America. I've been talking to someone from California. It's just so amazing. But anyways, yeah. See you all next Sunday. Bye for now. Bye.